We lived lower middle class. My dad was a construction worker. My mom cut hair until she finally just couldn't take it no more. Carpal tunnel set in and shit. But the reality was I wanted more. I thought we were worth more. I was embarrassed of our financial state. I was embarrassed of my own physique. So I compensated with trying to attain financial success at a young age by selling weed. I mean, at first I started smoking weed, probably to dull the fact that I didn't like my body. And I was like, fuck, like this makes me feel comfortable. And we don't know at that age. And our parents are feeding us dog shit. They don't know. They don't know proper macronutrient intake. And so I set out now to be the man I needed. Not saying my dad wasn't, because my dad was a savage. He was a fucking man's man. That dude, like, they're like, big can fuck. Like, what? 6'4", 270, 22s on the hang, construction worker, fucking heels cracked from just his boots soaked all day working stucco and construction plastering. And he was a man's man. His work ethic is what stuck with me. He never took a day off. He worked every day and he loved it because he was the motherfucker on that yard when they were working. He always was. They're like, nobody fucks with that dude. And so, I mean, we grew up that way, but they didn't know that. They weren't hip to what we know now. And what we know now is to create the man you admire and give him to the world. That's what I say our life's purpose is. Creation of the man you admire and then gift that man to the world. But what do we do first? We locate our pain inside, and then we find the solution in us and make sure people around us aren't falling to this pain. And this was alcoholism. This was eating incorrectly to not have the confidence we wanted. I wish these things that I know now, someone was able to teach me. So that's my pursuit to everybody out there, is to literally locate the true pain I've known my whole life and give the honest solutions of what got me from point A to point B. But the thing was, is I did start smoking weed to dull how I felt. I started off smoking, then I started slanging. I wanted to smoke for free. And then I swear by 16, I bought a brand new truck off the lot because I had been studying my credit score from 14 to 16. Like, oh, I'm going to finance this shit. I'm going to get this car. And then they told me you had to be 18. I'm like, what the fuck? I'm like, can I just buy it cash? And I did. They were tripping on me. It was like 40 G's at 16. I've been ahead of the game with all that stuff for a very long time, just because I will not be denied. I'm not going to be denied.
All right. So you've got your dad's work ethic. We see that. You've got your dad's work ethic. But you had this taste, this desire for great stuff. Yeah. And I think there's nothing wrong with that. I think money is a vehicle to freedom, to impact, and opportunity and experiences. And I want my kids to experience life at a higher level than I ever have. And also to have a higher level of impact than I've ever had. That said, you said, but I started smoking weed to dull the pain of the body that you had. Looking back, do you realize that, or did you know that in the moment?
I didn't know it in the moment. I know it now.
Okay, so looking back.
Yeah, I just didn't realize. I wasn't fat or nothing like really bad, but I just had slight fat on my chest, slight fat on my gut. And I didn't realize, I was embarrassed how thick my forearms were when I was a kid. Like they were real thick at the wrist and I had big forearms. Now it became one of my biggest assets. So all you guys out there who are embarrassed of body parts of yours, realize when you get the proper macronutrient intake and someone dials them in for you, you are going to realize that the parts that seem misshapen, once the fat comes off, these are going to be your best ones. And that's what happened with this too. Like I was embarrassed to speak on camera. And then once I finally did, it became my biggest strength. Under your weaknesses is your biggest strength. If you put the fucking work in, if you put the work in, it's all there, right in your weakness.
And so looking at today's 2021, let's say we've got the young generation, 16 to 24, 25-year-olds, the entire young generation of 16 to 24, 25-year-olds sitting in front of us, seeing what you see in the world with how lost they are, how confused they are. What do you think is happening to them?
You know what it is. You sent me that book, Rite of Passage. Rite of fucking Passage. I wouldn't have turned to getting validation from these other drug dealers or even from people from my stuff. I have some stuff now, but I don't really go floss it. I don't go drive around, hang out in front of places, and be like, hey, look at my Rolls Royces. I just fucking enjoy my shit. And it's a necessary evil when it comes to corporate America. But the thing is that really Back then, I was seeking massive approval from people I shouldn't have, and it got me in a lot of fucking hot water. And these kids, they're ending up in prison for that same fucking reason. Their parents are not giving them a rite of passage correctly, typically the fucking fathers. They're not showing them, hey, man, I'm the one doing that for all these lost kids from every age.
You know that, right? You see that.
From 22 to 52 to 62, I'm giving them a rite of passage. Motherfucker, you get up early. You take pride in that wake-up time. There's no negative self-talk. There's only gratitude for this life you've been given the second you rise. Yes, you take care of your body because we don't disregard something that's such a gift and expect people to love us for something we've trashed. That's crazy. A successful man who trashes his physique and talks about gratitude and talks about success and all this shit. I'm like, are you missing this, bro? But anyways, and then just with love, love's a verb. I mean, the self-love we cultivate inside of ourselves through self-investment is the only way we'll be able to exchange at the same rate. People don't understand that. They let their body fall apart and like expect their partner to still love them when they don't even respect themselves, love themselves at all. I mean, there's higher forces at play. Universal language is energy exchange. Yeah. And when we have low energy, no one's attracted to that shit.
And low energy is what I found is low energy is most created when you're living in a disastrous situation. You look at someone who's got a messy car, where their car's a mess, it's unkept, they're distracted. They're literally distracted drivers. And so if you're living in a messy body where your emotions are fucked up, your mindset is fucked up, your health, the way you look in the mirror, you look and you're not happy with what you see, you're going to treat the world that way. Like the outer image is literally a mirror of what's happening within. Yeah.
Your perspective of me is a reflection of you. I mean, the way we view the world is a secret confession of character. Anyone who hates the world, I think we know a lot about themselves. And you can literally, it's moment by moment, though. People think it's like, oh, you hate the world, you hate yourself. And that's for sure. No, you can turn it around. When you start to love yourself, when you start to cultivate that self-respect, you see love and respect in others. It's moment by moment. I will literally, if I even go out of alignment with my thoughts, actions, or energy that day, because everything's about alignment. If I go out of alignment and I start to hate on myself, then I automatically check myself and realize that I'm more than likely gonna project that onto people. The second I'm failing, I'm projecting them as failures. So, I mean, people get my message misconstrued because sometimes I do that, but it's in the form of love. Like, they're so capable. They're so capable, because how the fuck would I not believe that? I came from absolutely below the bottom. 3 years. Now I'm living the dream life out of my creation of pure alignment, like self-mastery. The man who has a certain level of self-mastery will manifest anything that he can visualize. And so I had this vision. I created this level of self-mastery, otherwise known as fucking discipline, and then just manifested that through the daily steps of alignment. My thoughts, actions, and energy were aligned with the outcome I want, and I would not fail. I would not take a day off. I would not break, because breaking was more painful than anything. It just...
Let me stop you right there. What happens, because you nailed something, what happens if someone from your past comes and finds you and goes, bro, you're different, you've changed, and I don't know, man? How does someone deal with someone like that?
When it comes to finances, it's like, I am different. When I had no money, you never used, no, actually, you're different. When I had no money, you never used to ask me for any. No, I'm just kidding. But the change is, it's a different energy. We're on a different, we're operating from a different vibration. And so you make them feel uncomfortable.
Yeah. Well, I'm talking by way of confidence. It could be confidence. It could be money. It could be physique. It could be in any way, just the way you're outspoken. And if you weren't then and you are now, they say you're different. What do you do with an old friend that may not fit into your life now, but wants to fit in?
Well, I know there's two types of people on your level up. There's the people you make inspired and the people you make insecure. And the insecure people are going to need, it's literally, the insecure people are going to need more compassion. And then the people who are inspired by you they're gonna thrive from compression. So it's the equal amount of compassion versus compression. The people who really do know you from back then, they're projecting their innate their inabilities towards you. So then the way to work with them is to be compassionate, sandwich that shit, fucking tell them something good about them, tell them what they need to change, hit them with another good thing. So compassion works with those people who are confrontational. But with the people who are hard, like me and you, are like, fucking tell me what I need to change so I can level up. Those people work with compression very well. So that's why my content
Explain compression for those who don't understand it.
Hard truths. So hard truths, like you can fucking tell them. Like
lean on them.
They feed off it. They're like, that's why my content breeds such a different client. Like when your content is hard truths, you don't have to call to your client. They're like, fucking tell me, Wes, I'm fucking ready. And those are why I get those people who are so ready. And my transformations on Watson_fit on IG, I mean, they're the best in the game because literally these people come in wanting it. They're not to be coddled. But then I get the ones, and they're usually the most roughest exteriors. They're usually the toughest guys. They're usually the most outspoken that need the compassion versus a compression. They haven't been made fun of. They've got their way too much. They're too soft.
What do you prefer delivering, compression or compassion?
I really love compression. That's my forte, but I like compassion now because it's harder. And I've just conditioned my mind to think what's harder is better.
Yeah.
So, I mean, I've learned to just find comfort in discomfort.
When did you start doing that?
Fuck, it was just in the penitentiary. It was through my self-talk in the penitentiary when times would get rough. Then I would just literally feed off not getting my way, like take pleasure in not being pleased at a sickening level. The door's not opening for a year.
Yeah.
I'm not going to step out. And I'm just waiting for these pussies, these bitches to crack. I'm like, listen to them. They ain't got no coffee and they're already crying. I'm going to do some more burpees and more push-ups. I thrive off of this. And at that point, I was still sharking on them. And I hadn't realized that they were actually gonna be my life's purpose, those individuals, because I was sitting there sharking on them still. But at one point I flipped it and I realized that when I finally healed my trauma, that was gonna be the prerequisite to my purpose.
Is that the flipping point, is when you started working on your trauma?
When I healed my trauma, healed myself, I saw that the solution I found there was literally it was a problem being solved to the greatest complexities known to man, us. Why we're in our own fucking way. Everybody would be so ripped, rich, and where they want to be if they weren't in their own fucking way. They've all made enough money. They've all done enough physical activity to look how they want to look. But what happened? The instant gratification got in the way. So many soft men choosing instant gratification over inspiration. Mm-hmm. It's sickening. Like, I would rather be an inspirational figure than get my way any day of the week. And then guess what? When you choose to be inspirational over instant gratification, you get it from all ends, because when you give more than you take, you get more than you gave. This is just how it works.
So to that point then, in prison, if I remember correctly, it was a couple, 2-3 years in, because up until that point, you were pretty bitter.
Oh, bitter as fuck. Like
bitter,
still
upset,
using drugs, bitter
right?
As fuck. Like,
so how do you go from that and sharking on those around you that are in solitary confinement to having compassion for them and realizing that they're your purpose and you're going to serve them?
It was selfish.
That's a flip of a switch.
Yeah, I can't lie. It was selfish. At first, okay, every endeavor we pursue starts off immature and ends up maturing. So this endeavor started off very immature. I was very selfish about it. I was like, fuck, I'm making myself insane with hatred for these people. How am I going to change this? I had to find a way to respect them. So that's how everything got created. I'm like, I can't lie. So I have to create men I love and respect right here by getting through to them, making them do the work. So I could be cured of my just massive internal anguish that I was creating for myself by hating on people, because I don't give a fuck. They are wrong. Who gives a fuck? But still, the hatred corrupts you. The resentment, I mean, it just corrupts you. Resentment is like drinking poison and wishing the other would die. I'm resenting these motherfuckers for being who they are when I see the light and I can change them. Too many people do that. Too many successful people, they just teach from an elevated standpoint and hate on people below them. And they don't realize they're corrupting every moment. So many lost moments that could be complete clarity to negativity. and just being ungrateful and hatred and low vibrating emotions. I learned to just saturate right there. So anytime I'm inconvenienced, anytime I have negative thoughts, anytime I go ungrateful, I magnify that second and I say, this is my time to shine. And I pull myself up and I'm as grateful as I can be at that moment, as loving as I can be at that moment. And I exercise who I really am at that moment. Because at that moment, that's who the fuck you really are. You're not who you are when everything's going your way. You're who you are when that motherfucking cell door slams and ain't opening for a year and you got everything taken away. Who are you then, motherfucker? All these tough guys out here would pee on their balls, straight crybaby motherfuckers. And like literally at that moment, I learned to be like, show who you are right now to yourself, motherfucker. And then through learning that and exercising this forever, I'm like, I have to teach these men this because it's so fucking empowering.
So how do you
Are you part of the 51% of employees?
When I put that down, the F, friends. So the second one is, it's going to be tough to make good decisions and be with people who making bad decisions. I've got a friend who, at 40 years old, he's probably got 4% body fat. He played high school football. He played college football, was supposed to go to the pros. He should have been in the NFL, but when he got to college, he started hanging with guys who like to smoke, drink, and fight. And they got in fights every single year. Freshman, he got into a fight. Sophomore, he got in a fight. Junior year, he got into a fight. And the fight was so bad that they stopped the dude and they killed him. And he was on the front page of the newspaper and on ESPN. And when he would go to the NFL for practice, the NFL teams would say, oh, you got what on your record? Oh, no, we can't. We can't. So I don't care how many good decisions you make. If you're hanging with people who are not making good decisions, a negative plus a positive equal a negative. I want to make sure you understand that. When you go to math class, next time you go to math, pay attention. A positive plus a positive times a negative, it's a negative. So the second thing you need to do is you need to select the people in your circle of influence who are going to help you make your dreams become a reality. Let me just be honest with you. I ain't trying to dog nobody out. But if your friends are putting you in a position where you drinking and you smoking and you high, they're not your real friends. I'm not suggesting that you stop hanging with them. My boy, Anthony Flynn, my guy, my business partner. Anthony Flynn said, if you want to make it to the New York Times, you got to hire Rory. So I had a friend who connected me with a friend to help me make my dreams become a reality. If you have people in your circle, I don't care what they call themselves, friend. They're not a friend, they are a foe. If the person is not helping you to elevate, but what they're doing is destroying you, you can label it friend, you can call it whatever you want.
Testing. Can you hear me, Greg? Testing. 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 Can you hear me, Greg? Testing. Can you hear me, Greg? Hello? Testing. Can you hear me, Greg?
Yes, I can. Can you hear me?
I can hear you, brother.
So, are we on air?
Oh, we're live on YouTube. I put the Zoom participants in the. We're good though. We're live on YouTube. We'll be live here in a few. I'm just playing the audio, and then we'll be ready to go. Welcome everybody on YouTube as well. Appreciate y'all for tuning in. Let's get it. So I'm gonna let everybody in, and let's get to it.
Cool. I'm gonna tweet out this link in just a second.
All right, brother. No problem. Thank you, man.
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
But they're destroying you, and you are a fool to let somebody destroy you in your dreams. And let me tell you why. I know a lot of people don't want to hear this, but at some point, I don't care what we all believe in this room. Here's what we all have in common. We all believe we're going to die. You're going to die. Everybody in this room, hey man, I don't care if you're working out every day, you're not gonna make it to 250 working out. It's not about to happen. I don't care what kind of drink you on, you got your little green juice you drink, you can drink it till you're blue in the face. You're not gonna make it to 200. I'm just being honest. You're not gonna make it to 200. And if you make it to 100, you probably won't have your youth. So because you don't live long, you don't have time not to make your dreams and goals become reality. Every single day, because you don't know how long you have, every single day should be about what can I do? What can I have? What can I be? And you gotta hang out with other people who are on the same trajectory you're on. I'm just being real, y'all. I'm from Detroit, right? Detroit we won one playoff game since 1957. 1957. I just want to show you something. The second one is friends. Say friends or foe. Come on, friends or foe. There's nothing in the middle. Like, there's no middle thing. They're either a friend and they're elevating you, or they're a foe, they tearing you down. There's no middle ground. So I'm a Lion fan, right? And so, years ago, everybody would just, Stafford is the worst quarterback. Stafford getting hit. Stafford bringing us down fourth quarter, 2 seconds left. He tried to throw a hit, throwing a touchdown. They're like, Stafford is whack. We can't stand Stafford. Just get rid of him. And if we get rid of him, we're going to win some games. Stafford left the Lions. He went to the Rams, an organization that want to win, an organization that pay people to win, an organization that has won before. They brought in the best of the best. And in 1 year, he left the Lions and he won the Super Bowl.
I started Jewel Dancewear in 2011 when I was a teenager. I was going through a lot of
1 year. 1 year, he left a losing franchise, went to a winning franchise, and won a Super Bowl. Now he got all kind of AT&T commercial. He got pizza. He got Ford F-150 trade. He never had that when he was with the Lions. Why? Because when you're hanging with losers, you lose. But when you're hanging with winners, you win. Woo! And there is no middle ground. There's no middle ground. Now, we got to be honest. You may hang.
Good morning. Welcome to Coffee and Crypto, the #1 cryptocurrency morning show in the world. We are live on YouTube. We are now live on Zoom. Shout out to my Apple Podcast, Spotify group. Welcome to everybody that is tuning in live and listening to us. And if you're listening to this recording later, shout out to you as well. All right, take the time, family, to send this link out to everybody that you know. Today's episode, I've been telling you guys, we got one of the biggest players, all right, one of the biggest investors, one of the most bullish people that I've been following for quite some time. And you can see his face on the screen right here. All right, Greg Lunt. I'm so excited to be interviewing this guy. I need you guys to go and really pick up the energy, because high energy equals high income. Blast this out. If you're a part of the nerds, if you're part of a part of the VO group, if you're a part of it, go blast this out, because you do not want people to miss this. This is the moment that you all have been praying for, and we're delivering it here on Coffee and Crypto. We're going to be live in the next 4 minutes. All right, we'll be going live at 10:05 Eastern Standard Time. Please sit back, grab your popcorn, because it's about to definitely be a movie. Let's get it.
People who bring you down. That's okay. Keep hanging with it. I'm not suggesting you stop, but don't lie to yourself and say that a foe is a friend. Call it what it is. My man don't mean me no good. We doing dumb stuff that could put us in jail, stuff that could. So let me just put it like this to you. Go do your homework when you get a chance. Alcohol is going to tear your brain. It's going to destroy your brain. Marijuana, you call it whatever you want to call it. The studies show it will make you lose brain cells. Now, some of you in this room, you ain't got enough to be losing. Okay, you want to be smart about this. Okay, you ain't got a whole bunch of them to be losing. I'm just being real. I was one of them, right? High school dropout, GED. I'm not playing. I'm not here to play. I'm here to save somebody's life.
Let's go.
I'm not here to be liked. There are those of you who you're not already, your IQ ain't that high already. Don't do stuff to destroy it. Just being honest. Put yourself in a winning situation. Does that make sense? Put yourself in a winning situation. Right? Now, some of you, maybe you got enough brain cells to lose some. You're just that sweet. Well, a lot of us in this room, we don't have that. So what we want to do is we don't want to do stuff that's going to destroy us and bring us down. We want to do the stuff that elevates us. Does that make sense? Now, we're not better than other people who do it, but this is what I tell people all the time. I went from a high school dropout, GED, to a PhD. I'm not better than nobody. I am more prepared than some people. I made different decisions than some people. It doesn't mean my character is better. It don't mean I'm going to be a happy. That's not what it means. But it means I've made some decisions that make life easier for me.
2 minutes to go, family. We're about to get ready to go live with Greg Lunt. Guys, I hope you all are ready. Please send this link out. If you're tuning in to YouTube, smash that subscribe button and stick around because you do not want to miss this interview. Let's get it.
Tell you something, I'm a high school dropout. I hate school. Getting a PhD has opened up doors for me that weren't open when I was a high school dropout. It was just a decision that I made. Does that make sense? When you say you got a PhD, it's just certain things you don't have to say. I don't have to negotiate no more. When I was like high school dropout, I had to negotiate. When I had a 4-year degree, I had to negotiate. When you get a PhD, you have to negotiate. When you're a New York Times bestseller, you don't negotiate. You say, this is what my price is. They either take it or they leave it. I'm not negotiating. The university didn't negotiate how much I had to pay for my PhD. There was no negotiating. We didn't negotiate it. It said, this is how much it cost. The dissertation, there was no negotiating with the dissertation. There was no negotiating. So I didn't get to negotiate. So now I've earned the right to charge you what I'm charging. You either pay it or you don't. You don't add stuff. When you make good decisions, you make other people make good decisions when they deal with you. When you make bad decisions, people can make bad decisions on you. Does that make sense? Okay. So just let me be honest. This is what I mean. You go to jail, you made some bad decisions. If they decide they don't want to feed you, they don't have to feed you and can't let nobody do about it. If they decide they want to put you in isolation, they can put you in isolation and your mama can't do nothing about it. You made a decision that was a bad decision, and now other people get to treat you badly because you treat yourself badly. I'm just being real with you. That's what happens. I need you to be clear. When you don't take care of yourself, you teach other people how or not to take care of you.
Welcome to Coffee and Crypto, the #1 cryptocurrency morning show in the world. I'm so grateful for you guys to tune in today. We have another jam-packed show. And usually you guys are probably used to me being the one that is talking, but we have our second interview on this show. And I'm so grateful for this guy's time. He's traveling right now for the holidays. I believe he's on the West Coast right now, but he took the time to get up super early to be on this show to really give you guys all of the coffee, all right? All of the coffee, all of the tea that you need, all right, to really make sure that you have your bags packed and you're ready for this explosion. You see the rocket ship, there's an explosion that has happened. There's a huge wealth shift. All right, and I want to say thank you so much to Mr. Greg Lunt for popping in. Today's call is the state, all right, the global state of crypto, all right? And we're not going to talk about, this guy is very niched, okay? He's very niched down. He focuses on one priority token, one priority coin, and that is Quant. All right, but give me 1 second, guys, as I get ready. Make sure that we're recording on the cloud as well. Let's get it. So welcome to Coffee and Crypto again. If you're tuning in on YouTube, stick around. All right, I got Mr. Lunt live. All right, drop some coffee in the chat box if you guys are ready. If y'all are hot, if you're boiling, if your blood is boiling and you're ready, if you've been trying to figure out this Quant thing. All right, I know we've been talking about it within the Discord group. We've been talking about this technology for quite some time, and I'm super excited because a lot of us, we're bullish on Ripple, we're bullish on XLM, we're bullish on XDC, we're bullish on a lot of these projects, VeChain, all right, but you got to understand what Quant has to offer. And since I've been diving into the deep rabbit hole, listening to all of his content that's on his Twitter link, if you guys do not follow him on Twitter, it's literally Greg Lunt, all right, 27. All right, I'm going to drop it in the chat box for you guys right here. It's Greg Lunt, all right, 27. Make sure you guys go and actually follow him on Twitter. All right, support that man. Click his click inside of his link tree and check everything out. All right. So if you guys are ready for today's episode, I need more energy in the chat box. I need you guys going crazy on YouTube. All right. And make sure that you're taking notes, because note takers are money makers. So we do have an hour on this call usually. So I want to go ahead and invite Mr. Lunt up to the stage. Mr. Lunt, are you there? Good morning to you.
Yes, sir. What's up, man? I'm just setting up my video here. Can you see me all right?
Man, let me bring you up right now. We can see you, bro. We can hear you clearly. I appreciate your
What's
time.
up? What's up, brother? Yo, I was messing with the Eric Thomas, you know, that's my guy. So
we could play it all the way through. That's usually what we do, man. I tell people that we can talk about money all day and we're going to make money. If you're on this call and not saying, okay, this is not financial advice, not saying what you're investing into, you're going to make money, but that's our hopes. And you have to have high hopes being in this space. And so for me, you know, I tell people all the time that it doesn't matter about how much money you're going to make. If you don't have the right mindset, your mindset will always supersede the money. You can hit the lottery, have a terrible mindset, and lose it all the next month or the next week because of a terrible mindset. So I appreciate you also appreciating that as well, brother.
Yeah, no doubt. Eric Thomas is somebody actually that I listen to a lot. Maybe not so much in the last year or two, but as I was kind of like going on my spiritual journey and learning about hard work and learning about mindset, as you say, that is somebody who, if you guys are not familiar, if you like tough love, if that's something you think you might need, if you want to get your discipline up, you want to get your mindset up, check out Eric Thomas. He'll yell at you a little bit and kind of tell you how it is. And yeah, that's definitely the guy right there.
He's like that hard uncle.
Yeah, 100%, 100%. He'll whip you into shape real quick.
Hell yeah. And another guy that I really want to say that I like too, I don't know if you heard of him. His name is Ed Milet. Have you heard of Ed Milet? I have.
Yeah. Same cut from the same cloth. He might be a little bit like not as harsh, but like same like kind of grind and energy, you know.
Yeah. So cool, man. I'm glad that you're on the show, bro. So I want to just kind of start off and just the first question I really have is, who is Greg Lunt, man? And before we even talk about crypto, what is your background, bro? Where do you come from? You know, because we have so many people that tune in from different cuts of the cloth, right? And I feel like your story, from what I've learned from listening to your other interviews on YouTube, I feel like I'm cut from a similar cloth as you. So I would love for people to be able to kind of also relate to you as well.
Yeah, for sure. So yeah, I'm Greg Lunt. I am from New York. Grew up there till I was about 13, moved to Connecticut, did high school there. Then I did college at Indiana University, graduated with a bachelor's in media and communications. Moved back to New York, worked in New York City for a bunch of years. And then in 2016, I moved out to LA and kind of just started to do my own thing a bit. You know, tried a lot of things, failed at a lot of things, learned about myself, found crypto in 2017. And that was kind of the start of this particular journey. I worked full-time at an esports company in Burbank. And then a couple of years ago, I moved out to Phoenix, which is where I am now. I work full-time in crypto and I spend a lot of time on Twitter, as you had mentioned. That's kind of like my side gig. And yeah, here I am. So I found Quant in 2020. It's been a crazy ride, this whole crypto thing for the last 5 years. Learned a lot about money in general. What is money? How does the system work? Why is it important to really understand that? You know, some people just know like, oh, money is good, but like, do you understand like what it is, how it functions, why it's there, the history of it? And that was something that I was forced to learn, you know, in order to understand the way the world works, really, because it's a value system, the way that we create products, services, the way that we evolve, all based around this transfer of wealth and person to person, how do you, it's a communication vehicle is what it is. It's the most powerful communication vehicle we have. So yeah, I've just been fascinated by money for the last few years. And here I am.
Dude, me too, man. So a little bit of, because we kind of chopped it up, but I said that we were cut from the similar cloth because I've heard about your story with you going to college, leaving college. I did the same thing, bro. I thought I was going to become a doctor. That was really my goal, was to become a doctor. And I feel like I am still a doctor. I'm helping people financially. I'm like a doctor of crypto now. So if there's a doctorate in crypto, I'm going to get it. For sure. But I moved to San Diego the same year that you moved to LA. And that's where I found the love too, bro. Out there in Cali. What is it about California, bro, that really pushes people into tech, pushes people into investing? What would you say? Like, because you already were getting a BS in media, but media communication, but that's not necessarily wholeheartedly tech and cryptocurrency. So like, how did you stumble across cryptocurrency? I know you said you stumbled across it, but what did that look like?
Yeah. So, well, just to answer quick about California, because I think it's a really interesting point. Like, I think there's something to discovery. Like, if you think about the way that humans kind of captured the planet, like little by little, just taking over this land. And Cali was kind of the last uncharted territory. So it's like you have all of these people that are hungry for more and for more. And you end up at this place where it's like, where else do we go? And now you just start going into your mind and you start blasting off. And it became this like hub for innovation in the world. And I guess that's just where dreamers go, I suppose. People that have a vision, people that want to have a vision. The sun doesn't hurt. I think that's a huge draw and it attracts a lot of people. So yeah, there's definitely something about Cali. I don't think I'd move back there at this point. But if you're kind of like trying to find yourself and you just want to let loose a little bit, I think that's a very interesting place. For me with crypto, I had heard about it a couple times over the years, like in passing. I used to play video games and be in part of those communities in probably 2013, 14, 15. I don't like remember a specific scenario where I ever considered buying it or even looking into it. But then in 2017, my buddy was just at my pad and he was looking on his phone at some chart. I was like, what's that? He's like, it's Bitcoin. I was like, I think I know what that is. And literally that night I just did a deep dive and I was like, holy crap. Because my whole goal of moving to Cali was really figure out how to make money online. That was like my whole thing. And so this, to be fair, I looked at it. I was like, oh, this is like a get rich quick thing. I was like, I think I cracked the code. And I had jumped in September 2017, like right in the middle of the bull run. So I thought I was a genius by buying a little bit of Bitcoin and stuff just kind of went crazy. And yeah, there's a lot of lessons you got to learn. You get humbled real quick when you, don't make the proper decisions and use risk management the way you should. I was lucky to, I would say, pretty much break even through the bear market. I was because I was living off of what I was making at that time, crypto became a big source of income. So I was actually selling decent sized chunks to survive. So by doing that, I ended up kind of cashing out at the top, a bunch of it. So I got a little bit lucky, but I also held a lot of it. Like when I started moving into the altcoins in 2018, a lot of those I rode all the way down. And so you have to learn about conviction and what that means in certain projects and how important that is, that you can't just buy stuff because you read an article or because you watched a video or because, you're just hype on it, or because you like the use case. That's another one I fell into, is like, oh yeah, it's like, we really do need, blockchain for baby powder. And then you're like, all of a sudden you're buying, the next thing because they have a cool website or whatever. So the way I think about it is, if this token were to go down 95% today, would I be sick to my stomach, or would I be like, okay, holding and perhaps buying more? And that's kind of like a real indicator to like put yourself through that exercise before you buy something. Because then if you really like it, or if you're just buying it because you think it might go up soon, so that's kind of been a huge revelation for me on the crypto journey.
I love that, Jim. If it goes down 95% and, if you still can have that conviction, I mean, I think the word of today, if I could just make a title for today's episode, it's just conviction through crypto, because you've been in the space since 2017. And I'll tell you something, people that's been in this space, we've experienced two bear markets so far, within these hash cycles and these market cycles within crypto and within Bitcoin itself. And so I guess my next question for you, man, that I would want to know is, okay, you bought crypto in 2017, you experienced it go up, you were living off this crypto, then 2018 kind of came back, and everything went back down. And then obviously when 2020 COVID hit, how did you stay convicted? How did you stay convicted in your decision? Was it through constant research, or through having mentorship, or how did you stay in? Because what most people are having right now is a lot of people, they came into crypto in 2020, I believe, same time you came in 2017. They experienced that next bull run where Bitcoin went to, almost 70 grand almost, and everything else, Ethereum went to the sky, to the moon. How did between 2018, 2019, and 2020, that's about a almost 3-year span, how did you stay committed to investing into this space?
Yeah, it was exactly what y'all are doing right now. Like, if you're watching this right now, you are focused on the fundamentals. You're focused on research during the bear market. It was 100% that. It was just reading more, watching more YouTube videos, understanding it deeper, because there's always rabbit holes to go down. Like, it's why one of the reasons I never call myself an expert in this space, because I just think there's way too much to know. And so that's a blessing, as much as it is like you feel overwhelmed, it's also a blessing, because it's like you can just go and research some more stuff and like become more convicted. And during the bear market, that's exactly what it was. It was just doing more and more and more research. And Bitcoin is something that, really, I think is an important technology. A lot of these altcoins, they're great and whatever, even quant, it's an investment and that's fine. But I think Bitcoin is something really special. And that's the one that kind of flipped everything for me. And understanding how it works and why it's important, I think that's a big reason that I was able to stick around and keep my conviction up. And so when, like you mentioned, the COVID drop in 2020, everything kind of fell off the table. And for me, it wasn't even, now granted, I had a full-time job at the time, so it wasn't like I needed this crypto money. It was kind of like, okay, this stuff just went from 10K to 4K or whatever in a day. I was like, all right, I'm buying that. You know what I mean? Because I had already spent the last couple of years just researching. And it's like, I know this is going to come back. I know it's going to come back. It's just a matter of when. So I still believe that's the case. And again, anyone who's watching this, you're doing the right thing. You're just investing in yourself and in your knowledge so that you'll be prepared when the next run comes.
Wow. And so pushing forward, now we're 2018, 2019, now we're 2020, and COVID happens. So I think this is where most people that are tuning in, most of people that got into crypto, unless they're just OGs, like, I bought my first crypto, which was XRP on the beach. I didn't know about quant back then. I didn't know about it. All I knew was XRP, and I was buying it on the beach in San Diego. So I remember the first place that I bought it. And so, what I want to challenge you all to do in the comments is drop the first time that you bought crypto, right? Just to stay engaged. Drop the first time in the comments and YouTube and here on Zoom as to when was the very first memory of you buying crypto. That way you can share that with others. However, so now we're in 2020. And when I was listening to one of your interviews, you said that you found quant in 2020. I believe that's when you found quant. And so what was that experience like, finding quant? Because I feel like you found I'm not going to use that theory. I was going to say, I feel like you found like the god of crypto pretty much, but that's pretty much what I would say, right? You found the thing that, your idol, what you are going to spend every single second, every single hour tweeting about. So talk about 2020 a little bit in that experience of finding quant.
Yeah, for sure. So the same guy actually that I saw his phone and saw Bitcoin on in 2017, we, became really, really good friends. And we talk crypto every day. And so one day I literally just asked him, like, what are your biggest bags? Because he was messing around in the altcoin space. And Quant was his number 2 bag at the time. And I had never heard of it. So I was like, all right, let me check this out. And, it wasn't something where, like you said, oh, I'm going to spend every waking moment thinking about this. Like it has to build up to that. Right. So, but what happened was over literally just the next few weeks, it just became a bit of an obsession because unlike other projects, the deeper that I dove on this one, the more boxes it checked, and it kind of was slowly morphing my vision of the crypto space and the trajectory of it. And I was learning so much about the bigger picture from the way that they were approaching things. It wasn't like, oh, we're going to build like a decentralized, like off the grid, like anyone can do anything in this, like all the other projects where it's like, we're building a decentralized this or a decentralized that. And it's like this thing that's separate from the system and it's an alternative to the system. And that's great. And that's good. And there's a lot of experimentation going on there. But with Quant, it was like, hey, we're driven by enterprise security, professionals that have decades of experience in banking and governments. And we're building a technology that is not another blockchain. It's an operating system essentially for blockchains to be able to interact in a different layer, right? So if every blockchain is its own layer, there's no way for those to communicate with each other or interoperate, right? And so Quant has built basically a layer 2 for all distributed ledgers. And this is not just for blockchain. Very importantly, it's not just for Bitcoin and Ethereum and all of these blockchains. It's also for 99% of the value on Earth, which is still locked up in these legacy systems that can't communicate to blockchains. So it's able to interoperate with all these different data networks, with IoT, Internet of Things networks, with legacy databases, and with the blockchains, and not just the public blockchains, but the private blockchains. So it's got all of this stuff where it's basically any to any interoperability, where the internet as we knew it was only able to, and as we have it today, basically outside of blockchain, is it's a data transfer vehicle. So I can send pictures, videos, text, audio to any device that has the internet, right? So it's this, we can send data and send information easily and essentially for free. With the blockchain and with digital assets, you're able to actually have this encryption layer built into the internet itself. And therefore you can send value without having to have a third party. So if I want to send you value now, we have to use the Chase app. We have to use the Venmo app. We have to use Cash App. We need that third party to validate and to be that mediator. Whereas with the blockchain, the code is the mediator. And so we can put the trust in the technology. And so that's really important. And that's what Web3 is, right? Web 1 is just when people were able to post information online and I could read it. So it was like a read-only internet. Web 2 was a read and write internet. That's the social media age where like I could go and I could create my own and you could create and I could comment on yours and you comment on mine. And Web 3 is now this ownership internet where not only can we send information, but we can send value. And so that changes the entire dynamic. We mentioned how money is kind of the communication vehicle, the ultimate communication vehicle for humans, because it enables us to create products and services and to put our energy behind certain projects or behind certain initiatives. By enabling people to send value instantly without mediation across borders in a split second for free and have it actually hold that value, I mean, that changes everything, that the way we operate. And it's very difficult to figure out how that's going to play out exactly, but just look at the world from pre-internet 1992 to internet 2022. You see that is a complete game changer as far as the way that we interact. And that's going to happen again. And like I said, I don't know what the Facebook or the Snapchat or the Twitter is going to be on Web3, but we're going to have these game-changing applications that change everything. So Quant's technology, essentially, as I was going down this rabbit hole, it was like, okay, interoperability between all these different networks and all these different systems is vital. Otherwise, we have no chance. And they had built something so unique that and their approach was so unique. They, instead of, just creating something and then trying to make it fit, they actually started by going to global standards bodies and basically building standards from scratch that are now have dozens of countries. Literally, there's over 60 countries involved in ISO TC 307, which is the blockchain and distributed ledger standard through ISO. ISO is the International Organization of Standardization. They essentially create standards for the things like the size of paper, so that all printer companies can manufacture their goods. They create like codes for country codes and for, different, food safety mechanisms, like things that are globally standardized. They go through ISO. And so now there's the blockchain standard for ISO, and it's created by the CEO of Quant. Okay. So this guy, he understands how these regulatory vehicles work. All the stuff that's happening now with the FTX and and it's like, we need regulation. Like, he's been on this tip for years, and he's been predicting this. And it's basically just unfolding exactly in the way he predicted. And so Quant's technology is set up to take advantage of the shift into a more regulated digital asset environment, which, if you're a decentralization maxi and you want to see this, utopian world where everyone's just peer to peer and there's no government and whatever, like maybe you get that after a world war and it's 20 years from now, and we'll see if that's a good or a bad thing and if everything's broken down in society. But as far as I can tell, for the next 5 or 10 years, we're still going down the path that we're going down. And so whether or not you like that, to me, it's less emotional and less about my morals or whatever and my judgment. And it's more about, okay, I'm trying to make some money here. And what are the actual technologies that are in place to start to take advantage of this shift? So long answer to your question, but basically, I just started to unravel this slowly but surely as I found Quant. I found it in October 2020. And ironically, my first buy was on my mom's birthday. So that ended up working out well. And then, just over the next few weeks and months, just became obsessed and was talking to everybody about it. And just like, yo, guys, like, I'm telling you. And I just haven't lost any faith. The more I research, the more I learn, the more conviction I get.
Dude, I got so much conviction right now in Quant, and I've literally shifted my paradigm towards it. And so before we go deeper into the rabbit hole, because this rabbit hole goes deep. I mean, I got stuff pulled up from that I want to talk about. But quick question. So going back to pre-internet, okay, we talked about the internet coming up. There was this thing, and I don't know if you heard about it. I was watching. I went deep. I watched this 2-hour interview of some other guy on YouTube, and he talked about how Quant is to Web3 what something like it's called like TCC, or it was like TC. It was like a connector piece. It was like the missing piece to the internet that did not allow the internet to communicate and be interoperable within the internet. And so basically, he was saying that. Do you know where I'm going with?
Yeah,
this?
TCP/IP.
TCP/IP, yes. And so, could you explain what TCP/IP is in layman's sense, real quick, and so that people can understand that Quant is that piece to Web3 of what TCP/IP was to Web 1.
Yeah. So if you think about when the internet first started, before any of us were using it, you basically had like different intranets, like these local networks that couldn't communicate to other networks. So you had like a university would have their own little intranet where they could send information from my building to your building and whatever, or you have a government or a military and they'd have their own closed networks, essentially. There were internets, but only for that local network. Now, in order to get those different networks to talk to each other, there needed to be interoperability. And that's what TCP/IP was. It became this foundational open source protocol for the internet that the internet still runs on today. And it's the reason that I can have an Apple iPhone and send a message to your Samsung Galaxy that can send a message to a fax machine, in China. Like, it doesn't matter. All this stuff, as long as you're connected to the internet, TCP/IP becomes this interoperability protocol to send data. And again, if Web 2 is a data sending, a read and writing of data, and Web 3 is a reading and writing of value, well, now we're running into the same issues of these closed networks, right? These blockchains that can't speak to each other properly. And so we need interoperability the same way that we did for Web 2, we now need it for Web 3. And that's where Quant comes in.
Absolutely. And so TCP/IP, what I want you guys to understand is this. If there was no TCP/IP, Apple would have to send everything through Apple. It would have to all go through Apple. It could not switch. And that's basically what he's saying. So that's what Quant is doing for this industry. And we are like fossils. Like we're literally going to be like fossils in regards to cryptocurrency 100, 200 years from now, guys. And so we're so early, stick with this space, stay bullish. And so another thing that I heard from, I believe it was your interview and another interview with the CEO of Quant himself, whose name is, what's his name? The CEO of Quant?
Gilbert Verdian.
He talked about blockchain agnostic. What exactly is blockchain agnostic? It said that Quant is a blockchain agnostic via Overledger.
Yeah, so Overledger is Quant software. Like I said, it kind of provides universal interoperability to all of these blockchains and distributed ledger technologies, as well as all these legacy financial systems. And so they use something called an API gateway. So what happens is whatever is happening on your network, whether it's blockchain or not, it gets dumbed down to basically ones and zeros. And it's the bits and bytes, like the smallest form of data that is readable by any technology. And that happens via Overledger, which is their software. And these API gateways, if you're not familiar with APIs, it's application programming interface. And these are the most common things used by developers for systems to pull data from each other. So like if I want to start a website and I want to have like a little Twitter widget on my website that like pulls my live Twitter feed on the side of my website, I can go to Twitter's API and I can build that into my website and it will send me the data live from Twitter. But we need APIs, not just for data again, but for value and for digital assets. And so Quant has built these APIs for digital assets essentially. And so Overledger, like I said, it's a layer 2 that lives above all of these different blockchains and networks. And blockchain agnostic just means that it doesn't matter what blockchain it is. It can all connect to it. And it's not just for the blockchains that are now, but it's for the blockchains in the future. They build one time a connector to Overledger, and now you are connected to what they're calling a network of networks, right? So you have everything in one place that can speak to each other in the ones and zeros in the second layer. And then when it's ready to settle, can then settle back on the original blockchain for that public ledger for everything to see and everybody to be able to view. So it's that second layer where all the magic happens, where the cost can come down, and more importantly, where these different systems can really speak to each other in a native language, right? Which is how you said
the costs come down because it's a ERC20 token originally, right? So have they ever broken off of the Ethereum network, or is it still an ERC20 token?
It's an ERC20 token. The reason for that is because due to the technology, they can essentially put any token on any chain. They can move that value around any system. That's the beauty of the interoperability. The reason they chose Ethereum was because it already had the most built-in infrastructure from a wallet standpoint, from an exchange standpoint. Like if Coinbase wants to add, your new random blockchain, they have to literally build a whole custom infrastructure to be able to do that network integration. Now, if you build an Ethereum token, ERC20 is just a snap of a finger because they already have all that infrastructure in place for Ethereum. So ERC20 tokens just live on the Ethereum blockchain, and that's easy. So from an infrastructural standpoint and an adoption standpoint, they said, look, let's just build on Ethereum. We can run an ICO there as well. We can raise funds. And so that's what they did to launch the token in 2018. But that token, that Quant token, it's going to cost you whatever the Ethereum gas fee is if you want to move it from your exchange to your wallet or something like that. But in reality, once this whole system, this whole space moves into these second and third layers, then everything's going to be basically running on those. The lower level is going to be more of like an automated system of just kind of keeping records, but that's not where we're going to be doing all of our transactions. Okay. We're going to be doing it in these cheaper second and third layers.
Third layers. Yeah. Which makes complete sense. And so you said 2018, and I wanted to pull this up right here. So I caught this document on your link tree. And so it talks about Quant Network and the Department of Homeland Security. And so this was a Telegram message from Gilbert Viridian. And we love to just show stuff here because it's one thing for us to talk, but to show you guys the facts and the figures, the logic behind these things is very important. And so Gilbert said, understood, we're looking at IoT, which is Internet of Things, as we're exploring the IoT space. The DHS, right, wants us to connect U.S. smart grids using over ledger. And we'll kind of, I guess, we'll jump into this smart grid here. But then if you scroll down a couple months later in 2018, he says, on that note, we are responding to 2 calls by the U.S. government, one for DARPA and the other for the Homeland Security. Let's see how they go. Right. And then there's a video in 2021 that, you know, if you go to his page, you can go and actually watch that video. But so now we're talking about, now we're in it and we're talking about partnerships and everybody who Quant is partnered with. We know the technology, we know why Quant is important, but now we have to bring it to real world utility. And so with this Overledger smart grid, you know, how is this being utilized today in our world?
Yeah. So in this example in particular, the smart grid is basically just like for the US, right? We're looking at what are all the things that are going to be able to talk to each other to keep, you know, the things that are listed here. So like homes and factories and power plants, like everything is connected through electricity and through these networks. So Overledger, as things move digital, you know, it's going to hopefully, we don't have confirmation. So I should say one of the things about Quant's partnership strategy, the way that they run their business, their product Overledger is what's called a white label. And if you know anything about business to business companies, some of them operate in this white label fashion. And what that means is that the product or service that I offer as a business to another business is such that I don't put my brand on it. I give you the technology. I license my technology to you, and then you can brand it as your own. And I don't, and you don't have to say that it's from me. You can just say, hey, you know, this is the Vincent interoperability that I made, right? And so because of that, in the contracts that they sign, a lot of them are under non-disclosure agreements or NDAs where they basically can't say, hey, we're doing this for them, because that defeats the entire purpose of being a white label and being able to license out your branding. So for something like Department of Homeland Security, we actually don't have, you know, a big follow-up on that because when these things are signed, we sometimes lose track of them. And now to answer your larger question about how is this being adopted on a global scale, you know, there are, you know, having said all that, there are partnerships that are public and some very large ones. The ones that, you know, are the easiest to talk about are, number one is Oracle. Oracle is the second largest software company in the world. They have 430,000 clients, and essentially they provide cloud infrastructure for Starbucks and Netflix and Boeing and just a countless amount of major businesses. And as these businesses begin to tokenize and create, you know, rewards NFTs or whatever they're going to do for their business, Oracle has built a blockchain app builder that runs on Overledger, essentially, where all the interoperability between networks that you can create on this blockchain app builder will go through Overledger, which uses the QNT token. One thing that I should mention about Overledger before I talk about some more partnerships is that why the interoperability is so powerful, what it allows you to do is create what they term MDApps. Okay, so stay with me. So we have apps on our phone, and then we have decentralized apps like Uniswap or whatever these protocols are being built for these different applications that people can use. Those are called dApps, decentralized applications. Now, what Quant is building via Overledger, they're allowing for MDApps, so these multi-ledger decentralized applications. So what I can do is I can write a smart contract, okay, that actually settles and can touch multiple networks at the same time within one smart contract. Wow. So I'm not just writing a smart contract that can do something on Ethereum, and then maybe we can like build a bridge to somewhere else and maybe have like, you know, some connector. It's like, no, I can build an app that, you know, maybe it plugs into my Chase account, and then it, you know, pulls from my Bitcoin wallet, and then it transfers that all automatically to XRP to do, you know, an instant transfer to a different CBDC, and it's connected to that, and it's connected to my insurance company, and it connects every ledger, and it can have programmable automatic business logic across networks, all in one smart contract that gets written. So something like, you know, we talk about Oracle and they have this blockchain app builder. That's something that it allows their 430,000 plus clients to come in and start building blockchain applications that have this universal interoperability across systems, and to build these multi-ledger smart contracts essentially with what they're calling like a low code or a no code app builder. Just a lot of drag and drop, a lot of, you know, form filling out, and maybe a little bit of code here and there to like bring your system in. So Oracle's massive. What Quant does with their partnerships, which I think is brilliant, is instead of going and partnering with single companies and saying, okay, we're going to add this bank, we're going to connect this bank. What they do is, or in this case with Oracle, with, you know, we're going to partner with Starbucks, we're going to partner with Netflix, we're going to partner with Boeing. Those are just the ones off the top of my head. They go to Oracle, who already has 400,000 of them, and just partners with them, right? So they partner with these large networks. So that's Oracle's one example. They also are partnered with Nexi Group, Nexi, formerly SIA, SIA. So SIA joined with Nexi and created the Nexi Group along with another company called Nets. But so Quant partnered with SIA in 2019 to test blockchain interoperability. By 2020, they had certified their interoperability. SIA at the time was connecting about 580 different banks in Europe, Africa, and the Middle East, and Oceania, and including 20 central banks. And Quant became certified for interoperability for the SIA network. In 2021, SIA and Nexi combined along with Nets to create the Nexi Group. And so Quant now is going to be the interoperability provider for all the Nexi Group, which has over 1,000 financial institutions. They are Europe's biggest payment technology platform. They do a lot of like merchant services and point of sale stuff. So basically any store you go into in Europe and you check out, it's all going through Nexi's system. Okay. So that is basically the interoperability provider for banks in Europe. Okay. Basically, they're second biggest to Swift in the world in terms of connecting banks. Okay. So Quant is partnered with them. Another example of partnering with a massive global network instead of just bank by bank. They're going straight to the source that already has hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of banks and financial institutions, and just partnering with them. And then they get access to all of those in one snap. Okay. Another one, LAC chain, LAC chain. This is the Latin America and Caribbean chain. This is an alliance created by the Inter-American Development Bank out of Washington, D.C., and they're connecting 15 to 18 Latin American and Caribbean countries, including payment back to the U.S. And they're creating what's known as a regional distributed ledger network. Okay. I know I'm throwing a lot of terms at you guys, but this is going to be the future of basically connecting regions and allowing for really like public permissioned is what they're called, applications. So you have like basically government programs. They're public because anyone can apply, just like getting a driver's license per se. Anyone can go get a driver's license, but you still need to like, it's permissioned in the sense that you still need to like go and take the test and show your ID and give prove that you are who you say you are. And then it's a public program though. So it's public permissioned. They're going to have blockchain networks that are public permission. So they offer public services, like it's going to, deal with welfare payments. It's going to deal with payroll. It's going to deal with, business to business transactions you can set up in your network. Like maybe I'm in Cuba or in, Argentina, and there's someone in Peru, and I want to build, and I can use the LACchain network. Okay. They're also setting up payment channels back to the US using Citibank. Okay. So it's connecting about a dozen Latin American and Caribbean countries. Okay. This is the first of its kind. And Quant is providing interoperability in LACchain. Okay. So again, not going one country to one country. They're just going and getting a dozen countries at once. And they're launching the Latin American dollar in 2023. Okay. Okay. Now, as of this morning, we actually have another massive partnership that just got announced. So those are kind of like the big three that I just told you that we always talk about as terms of public partnerships. But today we got another one, and I'm still kind of trying to wrap my head around this. I need to do more research, but it's a company called UST, and this is not Terra. This is not the stable coin attached to Luna UST. This is I don't even know what it stands for. UST Group. It's UST.com. And I just did like minimal research. I just posted a short thread about it earlier if you want to check it out. But essentially, from what I gather, they have 30,000 employees in 80 offices across 30 countries. And they are a technology consulting firm. So people, businesses go to UST with technological issues, and they help them build disruptive digital solutions. And Quant has now partnered with them to create this sandbox where basically a testing area for different financial companies and banks to start building central bank digital currencies, to build commercial stable coins, to build any kind of regulated digital asset that they can launch via Overledger. So I guess they're partnered with about 140 of the global 1,000 companies. So again, just this brilliant strategy of partnering directly with massive networks of established players, particularly in finance. They also go after healthcare and telecommunications. So those are kind of like, now this is a fourth one. Those are kind of like the big four public partnerships that span enterprise, government, and really touch every end of the globe.
Dude, this is amazing. And so during our very first talk last week, when we actually got onto a Zoom, I talked to you about my issue with investing in the quant, because right now it's at $103, $104 roughly, somewhere around there, right? But it's right now it's over $100 from the last time that I looked at it, which was like yesterday. And so I talked to you about the logic of me investing into that versus me going and getting XRP or XLM or VeChain because they're cheaper. And you talked about unit bias. I believe this is something, it really had an impact on me. And I really would say this is something that the community needs to hear. People need to hear more of this about unit bias. So could you talk to people about unit bias and why that's important when looking at the overall tokenomics of this industry?
Yeah, for sure. So one trap that people sometimes fall into is just looking at the price of a token and thinking that that makes it cheaper or more expensive than another token, and they're just comparing price. The way that price, you can backtrack and kind of reverse engineer how price is determined. It's the market cap divided by the supply. Okay. And another way to say that, you could just say price times supply equals market cap. And why that's important is because by comparing the price of the token, what you're not taking into account in the larger market cap, which is the ultimate kind of what you should be comparing, that's the number. You're only getting a part of what creates that market cap. You're only taking the price of the token, but how many tokens are there? That's the part you're forgetting. So if I have 10 tokens in my network, right, and each one is $1, my network is worth $10 in market cap, right? Because it's price of the token, $1, times the amount of tokens, which there's 10 tokens. So I have a $10 market cap. I can also have a 50-cent token next to it, but there's 1,000 of those. So that's actually a $500 market cap because there's 1,000 that are at 50 cents. So even though the token is 50 cents compared to the $1, it's cheaper. It's actually, the network is actually 50 times larger. It's the $500 market cap compared to the $10 market cap because of the amount of tokens that are worth 50 cents. So in total, there's way more value in that network, right? The 50-cent token times 1,000 tokens, there's more value than $1 token times 10. So the price of the token is not the only factor that matters when you're looking at the value of a network. So when you're saying one's cheaper and one's more expensive, you should be looking at the market cap. That is the number that when you go to coinmarketcap.com, when you go to coingecko.com, it's sorted by market cap. That's the number. So if you think of, like, for an analogy, if you compare like Ripple and XRP, and Quant, like we just said, yes, Ripple is 30 cents and Quant is $100. So it's like, oh my God, Ripple's so much cheaper than Quant. But is it really? Because there's a billion Ripple and there's 14 million Quant. So if you times 100 times 14 million, you only get 1.4 billion. If you times 30 cents times a billion, you get 30 billion or whatever. So, or 30, my math is off. How many Ripple are there? I don't know, whatever. So let me look at the market. What's the market cap of Ripple?
Oh, the
my
market
math,
cap,
sorry.
No, you're good, brother. The market cap of Ripple right now is at 18 billion.
Yes. Okay. So I'm bringing up CoinMarketCap right now. So we have Ripple is at 18.7 billion.
Yeah.
The total supply. Okay. The total supply is it's 1 trillion, not 1 billion.
It's huge.
100 billion.
Yeah.
It's 100 billion times 37 cents. That gets you to, so here's the other nuance. Is it goes by circulating supply, not total supply. So the total supply is how many coins will ever be created.
Max
circulating supply is how many are in circulation right now. So the market cap is token price times circulating supply. So what does it cost right now versus how many are in circulation right now? Stay with me. I know this is a lot of numbers, but let's just do an analogy. So if I have a pizza pie and I have 100 billion slices, which is essentially what the Ripple network is, right? It's a pizza pie with 100 billion slices. And I take one of those, okay? I have the littlest sliver. Now, if I have Quant, which is a pizza pie with 14 million slices, okay, which is way less than 100 billion. Yeah. Okay. It's couple hundred times less. And I take one slice of that. How much more of the pie do I have? Right. I have a way bigger slice of that total pie. So one Quant being $100 is actually, it's not a one-to-one comparison with one Ripple being worth 30 cents, because the 30-cent piece compared to the $100 piece, I'm actually getting a bigger slice of, like, if I divided the $100 by 30 cents. So if I had $100 in my pocket, right. And I said, all right, I could buy either one I want. What's the better deal? I could buy one Quant, which is 1/14 millionth of a pie. Or I could buy, whatever it is, 150, 200, 500 XRP. That's still going to be smaller of the larger pie of all the XRP than it is all the Quant. So sorry, that wasn't the cleanest explanation, but look up unit bias. And what the idea is essentially that you are putting too much stock in the value, in the price on the token. You're not taking into account the total supply of the amount of tokens. The total supply and the market cap is what makes a network more cheap or more valuable or more expensive as compared to just the token price alone. You're missing out the supply factor when you only look at price.
And that's why in the white papers, you want to pay attention to how many coins they burn, different things like that, because that lowers the supply of that coin, right? And
the supply matters, and people don't realize this yet because we're so early. And so when we talk about these tokens that have real utility, that's what we're looking for, right? We're looking for tokens that have natural demand. Right. So we're talking, again, supply and demand. You've all heard it, right? Supply and demand. That is the formula for price and for price appreciation. If demand is higher than supply, price goes up. If supply is higher than demand, price goes down. Think about the real estate market. If there's no good houses available, if they're getting snatched up, if the demand is really, really high, price goes up because there's less supply for the demand. Okay, same is going to happen with these tokens. We're just so early that the utility of the tokens is not actually evident yet. We're still in a very speculative phase. We haven't crossed that chasm yet into actual utility. We're waiting for that regulation. We're waiting for the maturity of the market. But once that happens over the next 5 to 10 years, supply is really going to matter. If that token is really actually in demand in the market and is being used, and there's not a lot of them available, price goes up. That's how it works. So we're not taking that into account fully. People kind of say it as a turn of phrase, like, oh yeah, the supply is this or the supply is that. But people are just investing in use case and partnerships and things that matter for sure. But they're not looking enough at the tokenomics and realizing that with a smaller supply, the more you can get of it now. I mean, that's part of why Bitcoin is so valuable, right? There's only 21 million that will ever be created. That scarcity is like why it's so great. And that you've heard of the halvening every 4 years, where the miners make they create half of the amount of Bitcoin as they did for the previous 4 years, and overnight that just changes. There's less supply, and so it makes it more valuable. Scarcity matters. It's why gold is the foundational value system that we've had for hundreds and thousands of years, is because there is a limited supply of gold. Okay, that's one of the factors that make hard money. And so with quant, there's a capped supply at 14 point. Actually, people say 14.6. I'm actually pretty sure it's closer to 14.9. I'm going to put out some information around that. So there's a little teaser for you. Follow me on Twitter. But either way, incredibly small amount of tokens. It's still 2/3 of the supply of Bitcoin. Okay, and there's no inflation. We're all familiar with inflation now because of what's going on in the real world. This is something that has always been kind of something that's in crypto, where they're offering these crazy yields on this DeFi platform or this protocol, or come stake over here. The reason they can give you those crazy yields is because they're just printing new ones. They're just printing new ones and giving them away and increasing supply and diluting the value of those tokens. So with quant, there's no inflation. There's a hard cap, and it is what it is. And so you get as much of the pie as you can now, or when you see an opportunity in these types of networks. Like I said, XRP, for example, I'm not throwing shade at XRP, but just for comparison's sake, there's 100 billion that will ever be created. There's only 50 billion in the market now. Yeah. So at any point, or whatever the schedule is, I'm not, fully up to date with XRP, but these are going to be introduced to the market over time. In the same way that the dollar is now, becoming less valuable because they printed 50% of all dollars ever created in the last 3 years. And now, we have gas prices are going up, and your cost of groceries is going up, and all this stuff because the dollar's worth less because there's more supply and less demand than in comparison to the supply. So that same is going to happen with a lot of these tokens, is as more supply is introduced, if there's real utility and it's really being used, well, the more that are available, the less they're worth. Wow. So something that you want to look at is hard cap supply, limited supply, understanding the tokenomics and the supply. So yeah. Absolutely, man. This was a very powerful call, man. Drop some coffee in the chat box on YouTube. Light it up one time for Greg Lunt. What we want to do now is, do you have a couple minutes for maybe 1, 2, 3 questions, Max? Yeah, for sure. Let's do it. If anybody has any questions, I know how it is, guys. Y'all got a lot of information. Probably have, I know Craw Billy got about 10 notes, but if you got any questions, if you want to give Mr. Lunt any love, any feedback, feel free to unmute your little number one, raise your hand. Don't just unmute, but raise those hands up. We'd love to hear from 2 to 3, one person at least. And I will call on you all as your hands are coming up and being raised. So
Remember, if you have a question, man, this is the time to ask your question. Don't wait until, especially if you're part of our Discord group, right? Don't wait until we get in the Discord group on the tokenomics call on Friday. You could have asked one of, he said he's not an expert, but man, with that explanation, dude, I have to argue with you and say I think you are an expert at this point. But Miss Zuli, the floor is yours. Thank you so much.
Good morning. Good morning. Thank you so much. Thank you, Vincent, for inviting Greg here to this platform for him to share with us all his knowledge. It's fantastic. I do have some quant, but as one of the questions that I have for you, Greg, in terms of the wallet and protecting the quant that we do have, the limited. Now I definitely want to get some more, and I will follow you on Twitter. So and having the gas, you mentioned the gas fee being high from transferring over. So what would be the best approach? How would you recommend, what would you recommend in terms of the wallet, type of wallet, and how to protect it and how to move?
Yeah, for sure. So wallets, there's different trade-offs depending on what kind of wallet that you want to use for protecting. And this doesn't just go for quant, this goes for all of your crypto. So you can keep it on the exchange. The benefits of that is that they're easily tradable and sellable. They're right there. You can do it from the app on your phone. Someone else is keeping track of, the private keys. And so you basically have full convenience, but you don't have ownership of the tokens. We're seeing stuff with like FTX right now. They went insolvent overnight. Everybody that had their tokens on the exchange, probably gone. Okay. And we've seen a bunch of stuff go bust like that. So there's real downside in trusting someone else. They say, not your keys, not your coins. So if you don't actually take control of those private keys, it's convenient. So if you're trading a lot, if you're selling and buying, like that might be a good option to have some on there so that you can easily do that. If you're more of a hodler, if you just want to buy and accumulate and you're more long-term thinking, you're going to want to take those tokens off the exchange or those private keys off the exchange. And you can do so in a couple of ways. You can have like a warm wallet. So they have like hot, warm, and cold, right? So a hot wallet is like connected to the internet at all times. That's going to be your exchange wallet. If you have a warm wallet, you can have one on your desktop or on your phone, and you can basically take it down to there. But, potentially your computer could get hacked. You could download a virus. You could click on a bad link. Maybe, whatever could happen, and your stuff could get drained because it is on a device that's connected to the internet at a lot of times. Same with your phone. And so, that's an option for some people. But if you really want, and that's kind of a combination between like convenience and security. And then if you want to go all the way to the security side, if you're like, I don't really want to touch these, I just want to get them offline and make sure that there's zero chance anyone could mess with them. You buy a cold wallet or a hardware wallet or an offline wallet. Those are all the same thing. One that I personally use is Ledger. If you go to ledger.com, guys, never buy cold wallets off of Amazon or any third party because people could put something in it or hack it before you even get it. So buy it off the website. It's ledger.com. There are other ones like Trezor, Trezor. And basically what these are, they're like little USB sticks essentially that you can plug into your computer, or you can use Bluetooth, and you can keep them offline. They're not connected to the internet until you turn them on, and you have to have the physical device in your hand in order to do anything with it. So they can't get hacked. The downside, or the trade-off there, is that you're now in full control of your private keys. And so anytime when I say private keys, what that is it's a seed phrase. It basically creates, it's a long string of numbers and letters that they automatically change into just a string of words. So you'll get a string of like 12 or 24 words in English that those words allow you access to that wallet, and they allow you to recreate that wallet. So if you were to lose the USB stick, you could use those words to recreate that wallet again, because the tokens aren't even on the device, just the private keys are. The tokens are on the blockchain. So they live on a certain wallet on the blockchain, and this thing is the key to it. Okay, so you can lose the key, but you can recreate that key to access the stuff that's in the cloud and on the blockchain. So, so your responsibility now is to make sure that you take control of those private keys and you keep them safe, those words. And there's a lot of different methods to doing that. Because if someone gets those words, they can recreate your wallet too. Okay. So again, it's the trade-off between having it online and having someone else holding them and having the risk of they do something sketchy or wrong or get hacked or whatever, and you lose it all because you weren't taking control of your own stuff, versus I need to now trust myself to take care of my own stuff and keep my, wallet under the mattress kind of thing. So you just have to weigh that out for yourself on what's more important to you in between convenience and security and who you trust and how you want to do things. But those are kind of your options: is your cold, your warm, and your hot wallets.
Thanks, Greg. Yeah, I was looking at the price as well. I've been monitoring the cost, and I'm glad that you explained the difference between 100 plus that Quant is right now versus the XRP in terms of the Sun. So yeah, so it's made a better decision as well in terms of the quantity that's available in the marketplace to purchase, so in circulation as well. Thank you.
You're welcome. Yeah, and just to add one more thing about that, I would say if you are holding more than a few $1,000s of crypto, you guys, I think it's well worth it. And you're not trading all the time. I would say it's definitely worth it to get, buy your $60, $70 Ledger Nano S Plus. And even just going through the exercise of moving, setting up the wallet, taking your stuff off the exchange, taking custody. I think it's very, very valuable. And, obviously you'll be protecting your tokens as well.
Awesome. And we have, that was amazing. That was really, really good. And then we have one last question, I believe, from Billy, one of our dedicated investors here in the group.
Hey, how are y'all?
Billy B, what's going on, big bro?
I need to invest in pens and paper, I suppose. Mr. Lunt, that was an incredible, eye-opening, awakening, deep dive, and I'm gonna have to go back and watch this session over and over to figure out what you said, and to fix my notes, because I just wrote everything everywhere, a lot of information, a lot of really good information that I hadn't thought of, and it explained well. So it's like when I invest in XRP, I learned that that's an important token and why. And it's so important to learn why all these tokens work with each other, but it's hard to differentiate the important ones and how they're going to work together. And also, you explained it very well and asked some great questions, Vince. Just I'm looking forward to gaining more knowledge on the VOC. Appreciate your time today, sir, both of you.
Absolutely. And thank you, Billy. Appreciate it, Billy. And again, y'all, I'm going to be let me mute you out, Billy. If you are give me 1 second, let me remove him. So if you are watching this on YouTube, or if you guys go back and watch the recording on YouTube, I'm going to drop, if it's okay with you, Greg, I'm going to drop all of your information. I'm probably just going to take the link tree, drop it below. That way you guys can go go below and actually gain access to everything. You also have a private group as well through Patreon, right, Greg? That people can also connect and tap into.
That group no longer exists.
It doesn't really exist. Okay.
Yeah. So you're going to be getting all my best stuff is going to be on Twitter. I post there every day. I'm kind of known for my deep dive threads. So if you want to, dive in a little deeper, I also on my link tree, the first link on there is going to be, well, actually, I just posted 9 episodes of a podcast that if you guys want to listen to that, that's going to be the first link now. But actually, the second link is going to be audio recordings and presentations. And if you're like Billy, and maybe some of this went over your head because I did go pretty fast, there's links on there for presentations that I've done that are a little less Q&A oriented like this. And I kind of, I designed them to be a full deep dive of the project in about 90 minutes. And, so if you like listening to podcasts or anything like that, go for a run, do some dishes and throw it on. It's a full quant breakdown and deep dive there. So that'll be kind of your foundational stuff. And then if you want to keep up to date with all what's going on with the project and other regulated things in the digital space, then that's on my Twitter.
Absolutely. And I just dropped his Twitter about 1 million times inside of the Zoom chat. So if you guys, and if you're watching on YouTube, make sure you smash that subscribe button. I appreciate everybody that tuned in. We'll continue to bring more amazing interviews, more amazing energy as we continue this show. And I want to say thank you so much, Greg, for your time, brother. I'll talk to you in a little bit after this show. I appreciate you. Did you have anything else that you wanted to share with everybody, or are we good to go here?
No, that's it, man. I appreciate you having me on. Keep doing what you're doing, bringing good energy, teaching everybody. You got a great community here, so keep up the good work, and we'll do this again soon sometime.
Absolutely. We'll definitely do it. Guys, make sure you follow him on Twitter. And with that being said, it has been an amazing show. And y'all know what I say. I'll see you at the top with us, not just from the top, because I know you guys are going to do the research and do the investing.